Welcome to Relax Time Radio, broadcast nightly from 7:30 to 9 p.m. on Radio Thailand, Chiang Mai.
Hey, welcome to Relax Time Radio with me, Paul,
And Mon.
and Mon over there. Yeah, it's Friday evening. We're here again, and we're here to talk about. We kind of like, what are we doing? It's almost like a part two of the New Year's resolution podcast. It wasn't called a New Year's resolution podcast. No, it wasn't. It was like goal setting,
Goal
right?
setting, yeah.
So this is something like a part two, or it's not exactly. No, it's connected.
Yeah,
It's connected.
it's connected surely, but I think this one's gonna stick a little bit more if you implement all of these things.
Okay, so today, we're going to be talking about how to set up habits and routines that actually work so that you can, achieve your goals.
Yep.
Right? I was just thinking, we're doing our, travel, social impact, and entrepreneurship segment, and even I have trouble remembering all that sometimes. Maybe we need like something like shorter and catchier to call our theme. What do you think? Like life hacks by Paul and
Oh,
Mon,
I
or
love
don't know.
life hacks.
Life
yeah.
hacks by Paul and Mon. I mean, it's a little bit buzzwordy, but still.
We can have buzzwords
We can have
here.
buzzwordy.
Yeah, let's think about a really good buzzword, and if you have one for us that we should definitely be using, then leave a comment on the Facebook page on the
Also,
post.
buzzwords goes with your color, doesn't it? So maybe that.
Because we're buzzing.
Well, you're bee colored, aren't you? You're yellow. Yeah, and I'm in black. So actually, together,
Yeah.
we're a busy bee. Okay, so
Where did you get all these puns from
I
today?
don't know. We're not all nonsense here on Relax Time Radio.
Sometimes.
Just sometimes. What are we doing today? Today we are, we're here on Relax Time Radio. It's Friday evening. We're here from 7:30 to 9 p.m.
Yep.
on 93.25 FM. We're also, I guess, on your favorite radio app, and we're also now broadcasting live on YouTube. And what I'm going to do is, if you want to see us in video, I'm just going to quickly edit the title of this video and share it on our Facebook page. If you have any questions or ideas for us about this setting of habits and routines that actually work, how to positively impact our life in this way, send them in to Relax Time Radio's Facebook page. Or you could also call 053-276-793 and
Paul will answer.
okay. And we also take song requests.
Yes.
The theme of our show on Friday is like new music. Yeah. So last week I played a few. We didn't get too much music last week, but I played a few Grammy nominees and winners, and I have a few more today from the recent 2020 Grammys
Yeah.
and other new music. Okay, so what we're going to do, I guess, is start the show off with a little bit of music as usual, Biba Doobie as usual, and we'll be back
Yes.
with our thoughts and us.
Biba Doobie is a good habit to have, right?
It's a fantastic habit. I hope you're doing well, Biba Doobie. If you're listening, it's very unlikely that you're listening, but if you were somehow,
We should
hope
ask
you're
her
having a
to
good
come
year.
on.
Hope you're having a good year. Okay, take it away, Biba Doobie, and we'll be back with you in a few minutes.
Feeling shit again. Haven't left my bed. Never brush my hair. And if you look me in the eyes, you'll see sitting tight, waiting to blow our brains away. Through the Milky Way, past the morning sun, Pluto is light years away, and all our worries, they're all gone. So quit being so negative. It's fine, it's only a temporary fix. You say I don't write happy songs, so I guess this is the first one. Through the Milky Way, past the morning sun, Pluto is light years away, and all our worries, they're all gone.
I fell for your magic. I tasted your skin. And though this is tragic, at least I found the end. I witnessed your madness. You shed light on my sins. And if we share in this sadness, then where have you been? I know you're not in love like you used to be, 'cause I'm not the one like you used to think. So you just I know that I'm stuck in this misery, 'cause I'm not enough like you used to think. So I'll just you bathe in your victory. You blew out on my fuse. And if I took on the planet, will I pay my dues? Your love was a mystery. Yeah, my love is a fool. And I travel the country just to get to you. I know you're not in love like you used to be, 'cause I'm not the one like you used to think. So you just I know that I'm stuck in this misery, 'cause I'm not enough like you used to think. So I'll just
You've been listening to Relax Time Radio on Radio Thailand Chiang Mai.
Watch our live stream on YouTube and don't forget to subscribe to our channel.
All right, don't know what happened there. That was an abrupt ending to a song, something strange. However, that was run by Georgie, new release from this week. Okay, let's get into it, shall we?
Yeah.
Okay, so now I'm going to be doing the question asking, and you're going to be doing the question answering, because I don't know the answers.
Okay, bring it on.
Because really, this first question already has me stumped. What are habits and what are routines? There's a difference, is there?
Yeah.
Okay, you tell me, because I don't know.
Okay. So in science, like neuroscience, for example, because that's what I study in my free time.
Okay.
Is a habit is basically a loop that is triggered by a certain event, right? And so can be an incident, can be I'll make an example that it's better to understand. Brushing our teeth is probably the most common habit that hopefully every one of us has.
So that's a habit and not a routine.
Yes. And so here's how this loop works, right? So you wake up and this is your trigger. You wake up, it's a trigger of that habit. And then the habit loop starts with the first level of you taking action, which is going to the bathroom. Hopefully taking this toothbrush, putting all the things on whatever you use. And then you do the action, and basically afterwards, and this is really, really important for a habit, is you have a reward. And the reward in that case is a fresh mouth, clean teeth, whatever else comes with it, right? People not running away from you because you actually brushed your teeth. And so this is the loop, and it closes then because the reward actually makes it for you so that you want to repeat this loop. Okay? So that's a habit. Now a routine is something.
Yeah.
Oh, and well, no, I tell you what a routine is first, and then I'll tell you what's the difference. So routine is something that can be different habits stacked together. So it could be a habit stack, which makes a routine. But a routine can also, for example, that every Friday you are just like me right now. I'm going to Thai lesson, and then I'm going to the market, get some food, and then I'm coming here.
Yep.
It's a routine, but it's not a habit. And the difference is that I'll do it because I want to learn Thai language, and I obviously want to come here and have the radio show, and in between I want to eat, or else I fall off the chair.
But it's not automatic.
Yes, it's not automatic. And if I don't do it, I wouldn't miss Thai lessons. I'm sorry, Cruel Palm. So the thing is that the most important difference between those two is I do have to think about the routine. It doesn't happen automatically. And if I do leave it out, it's not making a big difference on my day.
Okay, I got you. So I remember, like on the show that we talked about, goal setting, etc. This idea came up that it can take months or even longer to develop a habit, for a habit to develop, and that because and I said I think it reminded me of like when I was learning saxophone. It was a routine, a painful routine for several months, maybe like 3 months, and then it became a habit. And if I didn't go to practice, I felt bad, something's missing. So then that's the joy that you have to sort of like pass on to people who want to learn music. You have to like somehow convey to them that it's worth it, because it will become this thing that fantastic thing.
Yeah. It will become a part of you.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right. So the thing is, studies have shown that it can be as low as, for example, I think the lowest was 21 days. And it can take as long as 218 days to actually create a habit. Now, the thing is, not everything that you want to create a habit for will become one.
Yeah.
So it can also be that you're running routines for all of your life, And you think, oh, well, after 5 years going to the gym every Friday morning and then do this and do this, it should be happen automatically. But there are certain things that you must do to actually turn this into a habit, or else you just stop and you will never go back to the gym on Fridays just because it was a routine for 5 years. That doesn't say a thing. Like, time is not a condition there.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know if this makes me unusual or not, but on the brushing my teeth one, I'm like so random. It's definitely a habit because, like you said, there's a reward that getting a fresh mouth. But it's, I might brush my teeth once, twice, 3 or 4 times a day, depending on do they feel sticky and like I need to go and brush them. If I feel like brushing them 4 times a day, I will. If I feel like brushing them just once a day, I will.
Right. But you do brush them once a day, always.
At least. Yeah, usually 2, but sometimes, like I said, it varies.
Right. But that's the habit.
Yeah.
And so, do you brush them always in the morning?
Yeah, to be honest, yeah.
Yeah. So there we go. And so the thing is, like,
but not always before I go to bed.
Yeah. And I do get you. So, for example, it happened to me quite a few times when I was working like 3 different jobs and I was traveling and moving around, whatever, before I had my business, right? I would literally fall asleep and wake up in the middle of the night and be like, oh my God, like light is on.
Yeah.
I'm on the sofa. Like, my neck was stiff. I was like, I have to go to bed. Brushing your teeth. I'm like, nah. I literally couldn't be bothered. It was like, do I sleep 2 more minutes? 2 minutes longer than brushing.
But even in this case, it's still like what we're talking about. We're still in the right zone because when you do leave it, like for these reasons, you're too tired or whatever, you're burned out. Eventually, if you leave it long enough, the need for the habit becomes stronger and stronger and stronger, doesn't it? Like that need to, that urge to brush becomes stronger because you just feel bad.
Yeah, I mean, obviously. And it's the same with showering, right? So, I mean, I had days, and I'm sure everyone had them before, where I was just so exhausted that I decided, like, today I'm going to stay inside so I wouldn't meet other people, but I stay inside and I just don't do anything else but lie on my sofa and listen to a heck tons of podcasts. So I did a day, for example, I remember exactly actually, because it was almost a year ago around the carnival time and in Brazil. So I lived in Rio and I would dance in the carnival 3 days. And if people know the samba, the famous carnival with the samba classes and everything, or samba schools in Rio de Janeiro, you literally have to be there from like 6 p.m. to the next morning, like 7 a.m., 8 a.m. And it's like, it's hot, it's loud, it's everything that I don't necessarily need as often. And I remember I got really sick afterwards, so I was like, nope. So I turned on the podcast and I listened to it for 13 hours. I literally caught up on all of the episodes. I didn't shower. I didn't go out to get food. I did nothing. I was just there. I did brush my teeth in the morning, but I did not shower and I couldn't be bothered for anything else.
Yeah,
So,
I remember when I got dengue fever.
oh,
That knocks you out so badly that you can literally just lie zoned out in front of a TV for days, because it just your brain sort of shuts into survival mode. All of the lots of like high level thinking just goes out the window.
yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, I wouldn't want to try dengue though.
No, it's
Yeah.
pretty rough. Okay, so next question is, why should we set up habits and routines? So that's implying that we should set up both.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, okay, that's a great question that you have there. So first of all, I always recommend to have more habits than you have routines, because with routines you fill your brain up and you have to still keep thinking about them. But so here's the reason why we need habits actually, right? Because our brain is built on neural pathways, and the way we build them, so neural pathways, for those who don't know, we have like a brain that is kind of split in half. But people used to think that there are 2 different sides of the brain, which is not true. They work simultaneously. They have different tasks and different operational processes, but they do work together.
Yeah.
So there's not one half without the other. You are not left-brained or not right-brained. Just to bust this myth for once. So, anyways,
I mean, it's kind of a metaphor. I mean, people still talk about left brain, right brain without believing that it's literally true. It still can be a useful meme to talk about certain things, but it's not actually.
Yeah. But some people
apart
still
from
believe that. So
well, apart from in the cases where people have had their corpus callosum severed,
right.
Yes. Severe epileptics,
Yes.
for example.
Yeah.
And in that case, people can have two separate personalities going on.
Right. Or like in my case, for example, with like epilepsy, as you mentioned, and migraines together, I had parts of my brain shut down and then literally only a few things would work. So I wasn't able to speak, for example. I had spatial perception issues. So I would run against the wall being really, really confident that the door was right there, but it was like 3 meters to the right. All those kind of things. So yes, true. So anyways, neural pathways are basically like little bridges that connect both of the brain sides, and the way we build them, and we can build them throughout our lives, so it's never too late to learn something new, with repetition. But it's not only some kind of repetition, you have to repeat the correct things.
Yeah, actually, I do have something to add on that, because I've also studied and love to read in psychology.
Good.
And neuroscience as well. And repetition's important, but they've also done these tests where, like, on musicians and other learning tasks, and they found that small variations help you learn faster. So in other words, suppose you have to learn a piece of music, instead of always playing it at one speed in one way, if you vary it, if you try and play it louder, or perhaps you play sections in different orders, or you play faster and then really slow and then vary. Apparently you learn faster if you include variations in your repetitions.
Yes,
so
that's true.
So when you say repetition, it's not like it's of course you have to groove those pathways, build those pathways, but funnily enough, those pathways can often be built by including variation in the activity as well.
Yeah, totally. And I think this is really important to know for people who want to learn a hands-on skill. So for example, when I say hands-on, I mean more like hard skills, like languages, building something, driving a bike, or whatever it is, right? Because soft skills, obviously you can use this too, but it's a little bit harder, I think, to add variations to practice this. But it depends.
Actually, language is a really good example.
Yeah.
Definitely. And even a simple tool, well, simple in some ways, incredible in other ways, like Google Translate. They now have this variation where if you ask if you ask Google to play the audio of a word, it will do it in two different speeds. So it will alternate. It will say it once slowly and once fast. Slow, fast.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, there are a lot of language apps where you can read the word, for example. So I learned Thai, right? You can read in Thai and you have to type it in English, or you can read in English, you have to type it in Thai, and all this variation. So you're totally right.
Yeah.
And it definitely helps to build it up faster. So once you've built these neural pathways, then the more we are able to basically build neural pathways and have a solution for each of the things that we are supposed to do on a daily basis or on a very regular basis, and we can kind of take them off our decision-making processes.
Yeah.
So in the morning, I always tell my clients, for example, do not choose what you are going to wear in the morning. Put it out the evening before. Because I think we talked about decision fatigue on another another episode before. And so the most important thing is if you have realized, for example, Steve Jobs was wearing all the same clothes, and Mark Zuckerberg and Obama and all this type of people, and the reason why is literally because they don't want to make the decision and take away from the brain space. And that's the same reason why we should have habits, because habits don't take away from our brain space and the decision making possibility throughout the day anymore.
It's so funny, like sometimes you can really get yourself caught in a trap. Like, for example, imagine you're in a restaurant or a cafe and you're basically you almost order something, the first thing you see on the menu, but something stops you, and then you like get caught in this ridiculous loop of, is it that? Do I want this? And by the end of it, you're so fatigued, you don't want anything anymore.
And you leave. No, for real though, I feel you. This happens sometimes to me. And to be very honest, it's on special days where I'm anyways already like frustrated, or maybe where I had to make a lot of big decisions already, or try to solve any type of problems.
Right.
And on those days I don't even go to places like this, or I go with a very specific craving. So today I need to eat spaghetti carbonara, so I only go to places where I know it's good and they have nothing else that I want.
I have a friend who's sort of in a lot of leadership roles, and he must be, whether consciously or unconsciously, using this sort of way of overcoming decision-making fatigue. Because if you go and eat with him, he will just say, "I'll have what you're having." He'll wait. If you order, like, just order something, he said that. Therefore, he never has to. If he's with other people, he never has to actually think about what he wants to eat, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's it's so funny because I think a lot of people don't realize that this is actually a technique or a method. Some people who never have been around leaders a lot, they will think like, oh, that's, they will feel like a little bit flattered or whatever, because they think like, oh, he's giving me the trust to choose for him, kind of thing.
It's not that.
No, not at all. No. And I love it.
Of course, I realize that.
But it's like, I mean, it's still nice, like, I mean, you can also make it a little bit less obvious, and you can just say, we take that twice or something, like to the waiter or waitress. But I do love that, and I've done that, to be very honest, when I have been in leadership position in corporations. I've done things like that all the time. Maybe by this time more unconsciously as well, but just because you do not have the capacity that you want to think about things like this, Like when I would go to lunch with my colleagues, there were 3 different places that we would always be kind of choosing because they were easy to go to and whatever. And in each of the places, I had 2 different meals that I would always eat, and I would just alternate. It was not even like, what do I want to eat? Today it's that, next week it's that, so rotating. And it's like, and you get used to it. It's not like, but what if you really want to eat that? No.
In a sense, it's
doesn't matter.
In a sense, it's even been measured, because they've measured the amount of energy that the brain consumes, let's say, when grandmasters are playing chess.
Yeah.
And it's an incredible percentage of the total energy consumption of the body. It goes
Yeah.
up. It's all, in any case, the brain is already using about 20%.
Yeah.
When we're just doing normal everyday activities, moving around, etc.
Yeah.
But I think when people are playing chess, it's some incredible percentage. I don't remember the number. I might look it up in a second.
Yeah. No, but
anyway,
I know what you mean. It's like crazy. And I think a lot of people probably misunderstand that when they compare someone who works in construction, for example, and someone in a leadership position, because they think the person working construction should be super tired by the end of the day. But it's actually the person in the leadership position who uses so much more energy in the whole body, although they're not working out as much as the person on the construction side, basically, right?
Yeah, actually, I found it. It's really incredible. So over the course of a multi-day tournament, a chess grandmaster can burn up to 6,000 calories a day just sitting there.
Crazy.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? And I was right. I remember the 20% right. I don't see what percentage it's saying, but so they haven't come at it on this article I found in percentage terms, but they're saying that, just making these decisions, these calculations can cost 6,000 calories. Yeah, the brain can burn that many calories.
Yeah, you definitely, I'm not sure if you can work out 6,000 calories in a few days on construction work.
No, I have no idea. You probably can, but...
You need to go really hard, though.
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, you see, it's like, which is also why, talking about calories, like the best foods, for example, for your brain are like the fatty, really healthy foods like avocados, nuts and seeds. Not all of the nuts. So peanuts, you shouldn't be eating them all day long. You're just going to run. But walnuts and cashew nuts, for example.
This is getting ridiculously off topic, but did you hear, have you heard this story about how, the drug cartels in South America are getting into avocado growing because it's, more profitable than some of the drug trade or something?
Oh, you mean in
And
Mexico?
Yeah, they're starting to
Oh.
run the avocado business.
I lived around the corner from people who were into that, a certain type of group members,
Uh-huh.
and one of them got killed.
Wow.
Yeah, I woke up. With the big bang. Yeah, no, for real though. Avocados is like the new gold mine. It's ridiculous.
Okay.
It's so funny that you heard that too.
Yeah. Well, back on topic then. And that wink, I like that wink that you did earlier. That wink, everybody, just who didn't see it, was, of course, Mon is answering all the questions, but she also came up with the questions. So I'm just reading things here. What if I don't like habits? Says Paul Mon.
You could have just taken the credit, So, okay, what if you don't like habits? Yeah, Paul, do you like habits or not?
Well, it's kind of a trick question, isn't it? Because if it's become a habit already, you by definition almost like it, don't you? Sort of thing.
I'm not sure because
Or maybe not, because some habits have bad negative consequences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also have so many people who come to me, well, I'm the ADHD and I'm really chaotic and messy and I love, just being spontaneous and all of these things, and I just hate organizing and planning, so I hate habits. And I look at them like, right, sure, that's what it is, And I think they just don't understand what they're missing out on, because even
one habit is telling everybody that you've got ADHD.
I mean,
that's a pretty strong habit I've noticed in some people.
Yes, yes. It wasn't me saying that this time. But yeah, the thing is, especially for people, for example, with ADHD, with actual diagnosed ADHD.
I'm not dismissing the reality of this.
But there is also shiny object syndrome, as I like to call it, and it's definitely a thing that has been getting stronger and stronger over the past 2 decades. We don't have as much ADHD as we think we do, to be honest. But anyways,
there are some legitimate causes of it though in the world today, because I've studied them. For example, they've studied classroom lighting, all sorts of things, lack of contact, lack of spending time in nature. So there actually are in our environment, especially people growing up in cities, modern technological cities, everything that's around us, computers and phones. There are a lot of I'm not looking for the word, triggers of these kinds of behaviors, ADHD kind of behaviors.
Right, but
I
I want to go as far, and I've gone deep into this studies because apparently I had this too, but I wouldn't want to identify with it, so I went into it and I said, okay, so the thing is that, for example, in the US, there are 80% more people being diagnosed with it than in Europe and France and Germany, for example. And the reason for it is...
I'm not even going to say it. Yeah, I think we know what the reason is, actually.
So I'm just going to wrap it up under brainwashing and conditioning.
Okay, yeah.
So there's a lot of things in school. If a school kid, may it be a boy or girl, doesn't matter, and they're a little bit different, they're already brainwashed into believing that they're wrong, they're not okay, they don't fit in, they don't do this and this. And if they're more active, maybe because they're bored, maybe they know already everything, or they understand it, but they don't feel like they should be engaging in a school, right?
There's actually another slightly more sinister reason, as well, that I recently heard a doctor talking about, which is that basically, when you put a name on a condition, then pharmaceutical companies can sell the cure.
Yeah, also very true, which is obviously very big in the US too. And so, anyways, especially for people with ADHD or with shiny object syndrome, or with any type of I don't want to be organized, I hate planning, whatever. Fine, you can hate planning as much as you want. Your brain still operates on habits and systems and processes, and you cannot change that, no matter if you want it or not, if you like it or not. And if you fight against it all the time...
Well, I've got you. Yeah. But I guess what people would say is maybe it's because we're talking about setting habits and routines, and maybe that if you not just identify, but if you have sort of ADHD or some kind of problem focusing, you might feel that it is difficult to purposefully
100%.
create new habits.
But then you haven't been able to find the right method yet, or someone hasn't been teaching you about it, right?
Yeah.
And so that's the whole point of it. I think the more you're able to set up habits for yourself that actually work, the more you will stop not liking them and you will actually getting into the whole flow of understanding to use your brain for like as it is and to use it the way it works and build a system out of it.
Okay. Should we take a musical break and then
Yes.
come back and in part 2 look at how to do it, the actual nitty-gritty of how to start habits in the right way, good habits in the right way. Okay, let's do it. Thanks everybody for listening. Hope you're having a good time out there, or hope you're gonna have a good night out there on a Friday night in Chiang Mai or wherever you are. I'm gonna play a song by a band I played another song from last week, Cosmos Midnight. I just found out about this band, and this is a song called Get to Know. We'll be back.
I wanna say something about you. I went to, but I withdrew. I wanna make you bend like a bamboo. Can't do, but I can't choose you. Can't say what I wanted to say. If I did, then I would have. Cause I wanna make a plan, but it falls on you. Gotta wait till you do. What's the deal, though? We can make it real, like I feel when I see it, girl. I can make you feel as though you wanna see me go. 'Cause we can't hesitate. I wanna put it on a plate. Something about your body, baby. You could be my everything. I could wait a decade or two for you. I had 2 plans and they don't go through. One hand and I never can two. And we can go to France and I can't ask you. What's the deal, though? And I can't make you stand by me, but I can see a timeline whereby we. Maybe I was right in saying night and day, and you and Allah, you the topic, me the scholar. We can be the one to make it happen, but for now I can't imagine. I just wanna hold you once, be the only one you want. I just wanna hold you once, hold you once. What's the deal, though? I can make it real, like I feel when I see you, girl. I can make you feel as though you wanna see me go. 'Cause we
guess it will last, but I don't know how. If I sit on my hands, will the world still go round? I'm stuck to my habits. I know I'm not alone. I'm not doing much, but it's happening. I lie on my back and let it all soak in. If I didn't have it, would I know where I belong? If you love her in that way, you listen to what your mother said. Give a little bit if you're gonna take. We're addicted to the sunshine, alright. Find it hard to get uptight. And as long as we keep darkness out our sight, we're addicted to the sunshine, that's true. With those green and fertile views, undisturbed by what we do sometimes. We wait for the sunset, for the day to die, and beauty is leaving with the bloody sky. So there you have it, the past was good while it lasts. If you love her in that way, you listen to what your mother says. Give a little bit if you're gonna take. We're addicted to the sunshine, alright. Find it hard to get uptight. And as long as we keep darkness out our sight, we're addicted to the sunshine, that's true. With those green and fertile views, undisturbed by what we do sometimes. Sunshine, alright. Find it hard to get uptight. And as long as we keep darkness out of sight, we're addicted to the sunshine, that's true. With those green and fertile views, undisturbed by what we do sometimes.
You've been listening to Relax Time Radio on Radio Thailand Chiang Mai.
Watch our live stream on YouTube and don't forget to subscribe to our channel.
Hi, we're back. That second song there was Addicted to the Sunshine by Lime Cordial. Lime Cordial, maybe? Yeah.
Sticking to their habits.
All right, here we are, still on Relax Time Radio until 9 p.m. tonight, 7:30 to 9 p.m. every day of the week, with all the different hosts doing their show. It's Life Hacks by Paul and Mon. Well, we've been calling it up until now travel, social impact, and entrepreneurship. We're thinking about changing it to life hacks or something more catchy. Right. Today, though, we're looking at how to set up habits and routines that actually work.
Yeah.
And so, part 2 is, well, we kind of looked at it already, didn't we? How long does it need to adopt a new habit? But you maybe have something else to say about that, or should we get into the second part of that?
Yeah, I mean, maybe just to catch up on the... I mean, we said between 21 to 218 days.
Mm-hmm.
But it really depends on what's the habit
Okay.
and how are you going to implement it.
Yeah.
So if it's like about drinking a glass of water right when you wake up, it's probably going to take you 21 days only because it's a really easy habit.
Yeah.
And if you prepare it correctly, so obviously if you have to wake up, get into the kitchen, find some water that's clean, clean a glass, and like you will never do it. But
Yeah.
if you have a bottle of water right next to your bed and you wake up and you drink enough of it every morning, then in 21 days that's become a habit, right?
Yeah, I got you. Yeah. Okay, so maybe we need to look at some examples. And I also had like an idea popped into my head about this next question. But the question is, how do I get started, and which habits should I choose first?
Yeah.
What you?
I'm looking at you because you said you had some ideas popping
I
up.
did. The idea that I had popping up was that, because I was reading a little bit about this. So, not how to get started. I've got an idea on which habits to choose first. I'm not so sure, but so imagine like in advance because you've listened to Relax Time Radio and Man has just told you that it takes 21 to 218 days to form a habit. What if you think, well, 21 days is already quite a long time to last when something that I may not like immediately. How do I ensure that I'm going to get there? And the thought I had about this, which is not an original idea, it's just something I've come across, which is that you need to really sort of spend some time and focus on why you want this thing that you're setting yourself, I would call it like deepening the desire for the goal that you setting yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So if you just say, I'd like that, but it's just something that's like floating through your brain, I would like to be able to do that. If you don't like let that sink a little bit deeper into yourself, it's not going to work, is it?
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
Yeah, that's true.
It needs to be something that you really want.
Right. And also the goal should not be the habit itself. So the thing is, and this is probably also to answer the question, how should we choose which habits first? So the goal shouldn't be the habit itself.
Yeah.
So you don't want to set the goal to go 3 times a week to the gym, because that doesn't make you go to the gym. What makes you go to the gym is probably for me, it would be to be healthy and stay healthy. Because I know exercising, and don't get me wrong, I'm probably one of the people who hates the gym the most. You've seen me a whole of 3 times in the gym, but there are other ways how to work out, so there you go.
Yeah.
You're just gonna find a way of what works for you, right? So being healthy, staying healthy, which is my biggest goal, because I've been chronically ill for all my life. So now once I've healed these chronic illnesses, which is already a little miracle, I would want to stay healthy, basically, right?
Yeah.
But then also, I'm 33 years old, and I've been told all the time, like, oh, you look like 24. I want to keep that for a while, because that always rings really good in my ears. It's like, oh, thank you.
That's not going to last forever, though. Sorry.
Well, let's see about that. I can get a few years on with it for sure. And then it's slowly going to 25. But then if I'm 40 and they're like, you look like 25, I'm like, no, right? So that's the goal, right?
Okay.
So you don't want to have the goal of going to the gym. You want to have goals like this. And if it's really important, no matter how ridiculous that for other people is, for example. So, yeah. And then... So that's basically to deepen the desire. But so how do we choose first, right?
Mm.
So I'd say start with the easiest ones so that you have a win, right? So let's say you actually want to exercise more. What's the first thing that you can do that will get you in the end to exercise? Probably.
Well, okay, I have some experience on this one. So I don't go to the gym either, although there years and years and years ago I did. When I would like say, I want to do, a lot of exercise, do this or do that so many times a week, run or whatever. Me personally, so far, I've always failed at that.
Yeah.
But what I have succeeded at is I read this study a while back that said that it's cheating a little bit because it was on people who are already quite fit. But basically they said that you can maintain fitness just doing 2 or 3 or 4 minutes exercise a day. That's all it takes to maintain professional athletic sort of level fitness to some, in a way they're basically saying that you could do these all-out bursts of very intense activity for a couple of minutes, and that would maintain quite a decent level of fitness. So I thought, I can do this kind of thing. So that's, I exercise pretty much every day, except when I'm a little bit, have a cold or something, but I honestly don't ever do more than 5 minutes exercise a day. But I can do that.
Yeah.
Because it's very minimal.
Right. And this is exactly what it is. So find out what's the minimum effort you need. So I think those studies go around, and I know what you mean. I think the current state is 7 minutes.
Okay.
But you are very close, so don't worry.
Okay. Well, there are different studies. Mine said 4.
Yeah.
But we don't know. Yeah, like I said, it doesn't really apply.
They change every year
Yeah,
anyway,
they change all the
so
time.
don't worry.
I'm not saying it's absolute.
Yeah.
Exactly. And actually, like I said, it doesn't really apply to me because they were looking at people who already had attained fitness.
Right.
They were just saying it takes a very minimal amount of exercise to maintain fitness.
Right. These 7 minutes, for example, are actually for people. So if you do high intense training or workout or whatever it is you do, for 7 minutes a day, that's all you need to be and stay healthy. Probably not become a athlete, but
right,
be fit and healthy. And so start with the 7 minutes. And here's the thing, you don't have to start with every day. So start with once a week for the first 3 weeks, and then you add another day to the week for another 3 or 4 weeks. And then if you're successful with that, you can add as many more options as you want. You can either do longer workouts, because if you're already doing 7 minutes, why not do 15,
Yep.
Or you can add more days to the week, because if you do already Monday, Tuesday, why not add Wednesday? So this is really the key to how to get started. And the most important thing, I think, is how you actually prepare these habits. So as I said, you will never drink a glass of water in the morning, although it's the easiest thing to do, if you have to go out and do all of these things before you even can drink that water, right? And so that's the same with all of the habits. So if you want to get up in the morning and go to the gym, then make sure that your shoes, your outfit, everything is ready to go, so that you don't have an excuse.
Yeah.
And some people are even as crazy as to sleep in their workout or in parts of their workout clothes, so that when they wake up, they're literally looking down. They're like, okay, right, I'm already in the workout clothes. I don't have an excuse.
I remember I had a sort of cheat, not a cheat, but I remember that when I used to go to the gym, and this is a long, long time ago, one of the things that helped me to go was the fact that one of my favorite restaurants was right near to the gym, and I could eat immediately some of my favorite food afterwards.
Yeah.
That motivated me to go to the gym, because I thought, well, even if I don't enjoy the gym, I'll enjoy that afterwards, and it's right next door.
Yeah, totally. And it's I love that so much. That would be me. I would totally just yeah. And so this is how we literally have to build it up. And I used to be the one who has a whole list of, okay, so now I'm going to add all of these habits and I'm going to wipe the other ones off the list and whatever. And I would used to be able to do that. But that was a time where I would go all over the place, being overworking myself, and then I burned out and I died and all of these kind of bullshit. So it doesn't apply anymore. And I think it just also was it was literally a coping mechanism. So I was busy and it was loud and it was noisy and I was always doing something, so I didn't have to take care of other things. So now it's the other way around.
Can we one last example I have about
Mhm.
exercise, and this is something that many people, maybe even most people, already do who exercise, and it's been sort of tested and verified to be true. You know, that music, and there's some sort of things that can get us exercising with less effort. You know, for example, if you do certain kinds of exercise with music,
Mhm.
the right paced music, it just becomes easier. You can do much more, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And there's also actually studies that have shown that coffee can reduce the pain and fatigue of exercise.
Right. So there are some different things. So music helps with a lot of things, and a reason why is because we build in very, very fast emotional connection in our brains with, not certainly with the lyrics, but with the beats per minute, for example, and the connection that our brain have with certain memory and experiences.
Yeah.
So say, for example, for me, classical music, because I was a professional ballerina when I was a kid, I connect this with focus, discipline, and with success. Because I was successful as a ballerina, but I learned it through hard work and focus and discipline, right?
Yeah.
But I love classical music, so whenever I have to get into work, I literally put on Vivaldi's Four Seasons and then off I go, you know? But I would never listen to it in the gym or when I work out.
Right.
So I think there's totally, you can, so it's called priming actually. So you can prime your brain to react to different type of music. And the key to that is that you use the same type of music every time for different activities. And the best way would be, if we talk about building habits, to use it as a trigger.
Yeah. Can we think of like some other examples that like not exercise related? Let's say, have you got another example that's something totally different?
Yeah. So say, for example, nutrition.
Oh, you want to change your diet. Okay,
Yes.
so you want to change your diet.
Yeah.
Right. That's a hard one. It can be a very hard
It's
one,
a
right?
very, oh my God, yeah. So let's say we want to cut out sugar.
Yep.
Right? Completely cut out processed sugar. And we want to stop drinking coffee after lunch. Because
after lunch.
Yeah,
because
because
it
we
might
wanna sleep
affect-
better.
Okay.
Yeah. So coffee stays actually in our bodies up to 8 hours. So it affects sleeping for a long time. So it's better to have coffee not after 12 p.m. So let's just say this is our goal. And I've been there. I feel you guys if you're trying to do this. So the sugar thing, for example, right? Let's just say for me, I loved to eat donuts and I would drink tea every single day, but I would at least put, it's not a lie, 2 or 3 teaspoons sugar per cup, not per,
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah, I
per
got you.
cup.
I grew up drinking tea, English tea when I was young. That's how I grew up drinking tea. I don't do that anymore. It's been years since I put sugar in tea or
Yeah.
coffee, but that's how I grew up. Yeah.
Right. So you can imagine how hard it is to get off that, especially in the first weeks. So it took me about 8 weeks to get off sugar without having any big physical reactions to it.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the hardest part about changing habits and routines. For example, if you have physical reactions or you have like this addiction kind of thing, you know, where you feel actually really bad in the first few weeks. So then you can choose, for example, music as a trigger to feel better, for example. So for me, the case was I would have music like the Spice Girls.
Yeah.
The Spice Girls, and so 90s type of music, like 90s Eurodance or whatever.
That helped you quit sugar?
Yeah.
So-
Because so here's the reason why. So I worked in this digital marketing agency, and I would literally, I mean, it was disgusting. I would eat the sugar cups, cubes.
Right.
Sugar cubes. I would eat them. I would eat like 5 or 10 because I needed all of the energy, basically.
Apparently, there are performance athletes, long distance endurance runners who and cyclists who just eat raw sugar because they've
Yeah.
worked out that they need to keep their body mass down but they just need pure energy.
Yeah.
And for them, it doesn't cause anything like diabetes because they're literally burning it all up straight away.
Right.
But yeah, for most people, it's terrible.
I mean, yeah. I mean, to be honest, I think so. My theory is kind of because I burnt most of it as well, because the amount of brain work I had to do there per day was just ridiculous. It was, I mean, it was a matter of time I was burning out. But anyways, I burned a lot of energy there, so I just kept eating sugar. So the reason why the 90s music and the Spice Girls helped me through it is when I quit sugar, I had these crazy energy crushes. I would sit in front of the laptop working and I would just fall flat on the desk. And so putting actually music that hypes me up on the headphones a little bit louder than you should, so don't do that, but a little bit louder, and keep on singing, or in my head, like just keep on being physically active a little bit to move around while I was working with my brain, helped me getting this energy back and through this like huge energy dip, you know?
Yeah, I stopped drinking sugar and tea with coffee, but the way that it worked for me, and I'm not sure if this is like something you can apply, it just happened sort of naturally, was just to stop drinking what I was drinking and drink something else completely. So I literally replaced it with something else, which didn't go with sugar. So for example, instead of drinking like black Indian or English tea with milk and lots of sugar, I think I think at one point I tried to just maybe I'll have like less sugar and less sugar. Didn't work for me because it just tasted bad in the beginning, and it's hard to reduce it. So what I would do is I just switched to drinking green tea,
Right.
which tasted good, which instantly tasted better without sugar than with, instantly,
Right.
and there's no milk in it. So it's like a totally different drink, but it's still providing caffeine, still tastes great.
Yeah.
So that's how. And then with coffee also, coming to somewhere like Chiang Mai with this great coffee culture, instead of drinking like milky, terrible coffee with sugar, get the fresh black coffee with no sugar. It's such a different drink. It wasn't even like, it was not coffee as I knew it.
Yeah.
So the problem kind of like solved itself for me in that way
Yeah.
until I no longer desired to have sugar in anything. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a really good thing to do, but a lot of people, it's hard for them to just replace it.
Right.
And so then I think what a lot of people don't tell you is like there will be some kind of physical strain that you're going through if you have, like, I literally was addicted to sugar. That's probably the only thing I was addicted to ever. I never had issues with any drugs or alcohol, but sugar, that was it. Like, the amount of sugar I was eating surely couldn't be any possibly healthy.
Could you replace it with fruit? Could you replace bad sugar with good sugar, for example?
Right. So here's the thing. I would not do this because you then don't actually change your habit.
Okay.
And fruit sugar in masses is also not the best thing to do.
Right. It depends on, there are all these studies showing that different fruits spike your have a different glycemic index, spike your glucose levels in different ways. So, but there are some surprises because, for example, grapes will spike your blood sugar quickly, but other very sweet fruits like mangoes don't.
Yeah.
So that mangoes have actually been found to be beneficial for diabetics. So it's maybe not, and it's not even 100% understood why, basically sugars in nature are a lot more complicated than processed sugar. Yeah.
But the reason why I wouldn't do it is because you want to get rid of the habit of
needing sugar,
needing
the
sweet
sweetness.
sugar,
Yeah,
right?
I've got you.
So, and then replacing it just with healthy sugar doesn't actually do the trick, right?
I've got you. It's like I suppose the equivalent would be something like a methadone program for heroin addicts. You're still becoming addicted to the methadone. It's just it's just less bad. Yeah.
Right. Or smoking and nicotine plasts, Band-Aids or whatever.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So so you've sort of said something about it, but how did you get rid of the sugar habit? What did you exactly do?
Yeah. So I used because the physical part for me was way more hard to go through than to have the actually not the sugar, to be honest. Like, I could have just stopped the sugar, but the physical part of having these energy dips, to be freaking tired and literally falling asleep when I was working, that was the hardest part. And I did that a lot with music. So actually using music as a trigger to be more awake and to get energized. But
yeah, okay, I got you. So that's like dealing with the crashes, but actually,
Yeah.
what's dealing with the desire for the sweetness?
so that's the thing, right? So you wanna use this craving basically and kind of switch in your mind what you replace it with. So I replaced it with going outside and breathing fresh air. So every time I really, really needed sugar, I would take a walk around the block. So a lot of our people in my company, they would smoke cigarettes. So they anyways had like always little breaks.
Yeah.
So I would just pretend I would go smoke or whatever. And I would just walk around the block like 2-3 times and would breathe really, really deeply. And most importantly, usually when we crave food, we are actually thirsty.
Yeah.
And so I drank every single time I really wanted to eat sugar. I drank a full glass of warm water.
Wow.
Like that. Just, take it and exit and be done. And then actually the craving went off. And so you see me always with this huge cup, right? And I drink about 3 of them a day. It's a liter.
Yeah.
So, and then I drink extra with it also tea without sugar.
I have green tea in
Yeah.
here. Yeah.
Green tea. I drink green tea a lot. So I do drink usually between at least 2.5 and 4 liters a day. And that also comes from replacing sugar.
Look at the difference between your cup and mine. Look how bright and rainbowy and yours is, and look at my drab thing. I like
Isn't
my
it cute?
I like my drab thing though. It's kind of beautiful in its own way, but
Yeah.
still yours is like just wow.
Yeah, but this is literally so replacing habits is always good, right? But you do need to be aware of what you replace it with. And so my solution was definitely water. The reason why I didn't drink cold water is because it can actually be really unhealthy for the gut and everything. So that's a whole
Yeah.
different version. But that's why I chose warm water.
Okay. So basically the answer to so that's like how to get started, and then which habits you choose first. So that, like you said, the easy ones.
Mm-hmm. And also maybe to just quickly add that, which habits should you choose? You can have like a heck lot of habits, but they don't do anything for you, right? So you really, as you said, you want to deepen the desire for the goal, but you also want to think about, do I really necessarily need to add this habit? So if your goal is, for example, to be the healthiest person ever that you've been, like that's one of my goals, then what's the top 3 habits you need, right? So my top 3 habits is drinking as much water as possible, obviously a healthy amount still, but as much water as possible, exercising, and then obviously nutrition, right? But would it be beneficial for me, for example, to go networking 3 times a week with other people so I can be more healthy? It doesn't really match up, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So I think that's a good indication of like how much does this habit actually help you to achieve the new goal.
Okay. All right, let's take a very short one-song musical break and come back and wrap it up with how to get rid of a bad habit, a habit that doesn't serve anymore, and also our top 3 tips to implement new habits.
Yes.
Okay? I've no idea what mine are going to be yet. I'll work on it. And the song I'm going to play it was a Grammy nominee. Didn't win in the category, but I think it didn't win. Yeah, just the nominee, Best R&B Performance. And this is Daniel Caesar and Brandy with Love Again. All right, and we'll be back.
I wake from my slumber. I wish I could call you up. Miss how you'd put your love on me.
Boy, you got my number. Wish I could feel your touch. Wish you could follow up on me.
You never know when to chill. Always talk about keep it real. Only till you've had your fill. Then you wanna cry ill will. Really thought you knew the deal. Oh, well, I guess that's what happens when two fools be falling in love. Mixing some pain and some passion. Nothing is ever enough. If you can take my hand, I promise we'll find love again. Love again, yeah, yeah. If you can take my hand, I promise we'll find love again, yeah. Oh, oh, yeah.
You don't even say what's up. Round your boys, you act so tough. Like you never been in love. If you don't quit acting up, alone is where you don't end up. I promise. You may think that I'm crazy. You should ask around about me. Put your trust in me, baby.
I wake from my slumber. I wish I could call you up. Miss how you'd put your love on me.
Hello, boy, you got my number. Wish I could feel your touch. Wish you could follow up on me.
Hold on until the end. Hold on till you can't extend. I'll be clinging on to you. I'll be clinging on to you.
And then begin again, orbiting around and then cycle back around to you. Coming back around to you. I'm coming back around and
even on your worst day, love you in the worst way. Circling around for eternity. Going through the motions, you're turning me eternally.
Drifting on my own again, reaching out to hold your hand. I wanna be alone with you. Can I be alone with you? Can I be alone with you? If you can take my hand, I promise we'll find love again. Love again. Oh, if you can take my hand, I promise we'll find love again.
You've been listening to Relax Time Radio on Radio Thailand Chiang Mai.
Watch our live stream on YouTube and don't forget to subscribe to our channel.
All right, that was Brandy and Daniel Caesar with Love Again. We've got, I guess I could have played another song. Doesn't matter, we'll play another song at the end. We've got about 15 minutes left of our show, and we're going to try and tell you how to get rid of bad habits, and then our top 3 tips for how to implement new habits. So, how do we get rid of bad habits?
So the first thing, and that's my favorite answer for every question you will ask me, is you need to be aware first that you have bad habits and which ones they are.
Okay.
So awareness is always your best friend. But then obviously the best way to get rid of them is to change your environment. So should you go on vacation, or should you be having a business trip or whatever it is, something that is taking you out of your usual routine, that's the very best way to change habits. And it's also the best way to implement new ones, but it's actually the best way to stop any type of habits that don't serve us anymore. And the reason why is because the brain anyways needs to process a new environment and a new ways of working yourself out. So say you're traveling, that's the very best way to stop smoking, to stop sugar, to start working out 5 minutes every morning. Because in this changed environment, it's easier for your brain to take on new things.
Yeah. I've definitely noticed that a lot of travelers stop buying cigarettes, but don't necessarily stop trying to get them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree totally. Yeah, a new environment. Yeah, that's a really, really strong one.
Yeah. And you know, the funny part is you don't have to wait for a vacation or for whatever. You can set yourself up with a different way. So let's say not everyone has a business or is an entrepreneur, right? But if you have a 9 to 5, just take the weekend when your days off are, and set yourself up completely different as any other weekend. So either have a weekend away, or just the way what you do and how you do it is completely different. And then at this weekend, you're going to start implementing new habits or leaving those ones out. And I think one of my favorite, and we're getting to our top 3 with it soon, I guess. One of my favorite ways as well to practicing actually implementing habits or leaving habits behind, no matter if you want to adopt new habits or not, is to practice how you do things different. So for example, if you always in the shopping mall take the elevator, go take the stairs. If you always drive the same way to work, go another route. If you keep having your coffee in the morning and you hold it in the right hand, take the cup into the left hand. It's like those things. If you practice to do things opposite, your brain will be literally trained to adapt new things easier, and it will be way more simpler or easier for you to take on new habits as soon you want to.
Okay. Should we try and do a top 3 then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bring it on.
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
So my first one is to try and find the best reason. Like, for example, if you want to go to the gym or change your diet, try and find the best reason you can find for doing what you want to do. In other words, say you want to exercise more, then I would suggest that, thinking about wanting to be healthy and feeling good will be a better long-term solution than wanting to look good, because, looking good might not happen immediately, and it's a tricky one because, I don't know. I just think that it's not as solid a foundation as health and feel and the benefit of, the actual simple physiological good feeling that comes from doing exercise when you get into it. So that's my first one. Second one is try to find a way to enjoy what you'll be doing as quickly as possible. So supposing like a habit, something you want to do, let's say that you giving up sugar or changing your diet. Let's say you start trying food that you didn't think you liked, or because you want to give up sugar, etc. You want to cut. Whatever it was, you want to cut cakes and sweets out of your diet, or you want to, let's say you wanted to cut meat out of your diet, but you want to, as quickly as possible, enjoy eating vegetables, or quickly as possible enjoy eating stuff that's not sweet. I suggest mindfulness, because experts in mindfulness will tell you that one of the strangest things about it is that there's nothing that's boring or uninteresting if you're able to pay sufficient attention to it. So, and I once got sick like you. I had for way over a year, almost 2 years, I had acid problem in my stomach, and I had to totally change my diet. And I was reading that these herbs and those herbs, and one of the things that was said to be very good for this, and it was good, was Thai basil.
Really?
It was is it holy? Yeah, not holy basil. Maybe not Thai basil. Maybe it's just the actual basil. Yeah, like as we have it around the world, but fresh basil. Now, I'd always hated it, but
feeling
I came to really love it. So and it's kind of, I came to love it by just paying like close attention to what it actually tastes like, and although immediately the things I didn't like about the taste didn't go away, not immediately. I started to notice some things I did like about it.
Yeah.
And weirdly now I really like it.
Yeah.
And this is one thing that like people who haven't tried like plant-based diets don't realize. They think, surely you got to miss meat. I mean, how can you? But basically, it's just not the way that I found it to be true. You know, it's basically there's just so many varieties of vegetables and so many tastes in there that if you really taste it, once you've gotten over, and it fades pretty quickly, that need for like that salty, fatty kind of taste that's in meat, you'd be surprised at how quickly you can start to enjoy the flavors of, just pure vegetable dishes.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's mindfulness. And number 3, I don't know if I have it. I'll come back to. Can you do yours, and I'll try and come back and think of a third.
Yeah. So I think I just mentioned one of my top favorites. So the number 1 is if you keep practicing, it's literally practicing all the time to do things different as you would be usually doing them, then it will be way easier to implement new habits or leave them behind. So for me, it's a thing, like I could keep driving here every Friday the same way, but it's a matter for me to drive different ways or going home different ways, and I do that not every Friday, but it depends. So so this is one thing. So keep doing things differently, right? So mix them up. And intentionally, I think it's the intention behind that makes us being able to set up habits later better.
Okay.
So I just read the sorry one in the in your first point. I was like, what? That's so funny. So the second one is I think the being able to literally start small and build it up. Like everything is a step by step. Like we don't become overnight successes. It's always like a long run up to build success, for example, right? And it's with everything. And I have to keep reminding myself with it because I get quite frustrated if I try to implement a habit and it doesn't work. So right now I try to get back into ballet. I think I've mentioned it before. And there are weeks where I'm pretty good in just like, getting up and like doing my little morning routine that I have and then do ballet. And then some weeks I'm just like, with the circumstances right now and the smoke and whatever as well, but I'm just so exhausted, I just can't be bothered, and this is bothering me a lot, but it's a thing. So, and I know for myself I just need to start smaller, so once a week, and not do a full 1.5 hours, but do like 15 minutes, right? So, and I need to remind myself as well, because I used to start out always over here. So, and the third one, I think the third one is, and we haven't mentioned it before, if you're really, so if it's something that's really hard for you, so for the sugar, for example, I didn't mention it before, but it's accountability buddies.
Ah, yeah.
So I had a really good friend at work, and he was willing to, thanks Marcel, he was willing to literally slap me or be mean or literally take away, like, or
have you done what you said you were going to do?
Yeah, but in a way that would hurt, not physically hurt, but literally be, he would come and take a glass of water and put it over me or whatever if I do put sugar in my tea. And it's very obvious because it was a big kitchen, everyone can see it, so he would just follow me.
What about the I've noticed this one with food and people. What about the lying to yourself and everybody? Like, because they've shown that so many people who are trying to change their diet, they kind of eat some snacks at night, they kind of like sleepwalk to the fridge, and literally it's like half. Are they lying, or are they just like they shut it out of their mind to such a great extent that they're pretending to themselves in the world that they haven't eaten this or that,
Yeah.
and that they're,
Right.
you know what I mean?
So the thing is, the first thing, if you want to cut out sugar, don't buy something with sugar and put it in your fridge.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like make it as hard as possible for yourself to get something with sugar. For if it's sugar, for example, right?
Yeah.
If it's meat, why would you buy meat? If you have a partner that doesn't want to support your meatless diet, for example, then ask your partner to get their meat somewhere else.
I wonder what, like, yeah, you said that it's not the best to replace one thing with another, but I remember, like, if I felt like I was having too many cookies with my coffee, I would say, well, just go and get some fruit instead. And that's worked for me, but you're saying it's not a good thing to do.
I guess it really depends, right? Some people are just not able to dial in the amount.
You know what, man? We've only got half a minute left.
And we are not good in time, are we?
We know. We're not good in time. We're going to have to say good night.
Good night, everyone.
Yeah, thanks for listening. Tomorrow it's Tom Kun Tom with Legal Matters. And I'll be back with Lily and DJ Nam on Sunday for the Jazz, Blues and Soul Show. Thank you so much for listening. We hope you've gotten something out of this.
And if you have questions, post them on the Facebook page.
Yeah, please do. Please do. And we'll catch you next week. So, 5, 4, 3, 2, good night.
You've been listening to Relax Time Radio on Radio Thailand Chiang Mai.
Watch our live stream on YouTube and don't forget to subscribe to our channel.
.สถานีวิทยุกระจายเสียงแห่งประเทศไทยและเครือข่ายทั่วประเทศเสนอข่าวต้นชั่วโมงรู้เร็วรู้จริงเกาะติดทุกสถานการณ์
จากนี้ไปเชิญรับฟังสรุปเหตุการณ์และความเคลื่อนไหวที่น่าสนใจตลอดทั้งวันที่ผ่านมากับพิญโยรุ่งสมัยอีกสักครู่กลับมาติดตามรายละเอียดครับ
เกณฑ์อะไรที่จะบอกเราได้ว่านี่คือ
เฟกนิวส์อย่าตื่นตูมกับหัวข้อข่าวที่น่าตื่นเต้น
การพาดหัวลวงให้คลิกใช้คำที่มีรูปให้ชวนสง